And we're live. Okay, we're looking at expanding brackets, so we're going to be using the same skills eventually that we did with multiplying out terms and also adding and subtracting like terms. So what I'm going to do is, the heading is basically expanding brackets, and the law we're using is called the distributive law. So I'm looking at numbers because numbers make more sense sometimes than algebra. So if I have 2 times 4 equals 8, I could put the 4 in a bracket. Okay, so there's nothing too complicated there. So, just continuing on from the previous page, 2 times 4 equals 8. Now, if I was going to break 4 up into smaller numbers, okay, I've got three spaces that you can fill in. So what I want to do is pause, and I want you to think of 2 numbers, not hard, that add to 4, or maybe 3 numbers that add to 4, and I want you to fill in those spaces right now. And when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so you could have thought of 3 plus 1 equals 4, or perhaps 2 plus 2 equals 4, or perhaps 2 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. So hopefully you had those sort of answers. If you had them in the opposite order, like 1 plus 3, no big deal. Okay, so looking at the next slide. So just taking one of those answers, for instance, 2 times bracket 3 plus 1. So we know that 3 plus 1 equals 4, so I've still got the same question, and so we know the answer has to be 8. Okay, we know the answer is 8. But using a law, and a law is just the rule, which I'm called the distributive law, we can expand the brackets. So looking at down the bottom, I've got 2 times 3, that's that first part. And then I've got plus 2 times 1. So 2 times 3 equals 6, 6 plus 2 equals 8. So obviously the answer is the same because we had the same question. So there's nothing too complicated there, and you don't need to write this down yet. So, what I'm saying now, if it works with numbers, it also works with pronumerals. So if I've got, for instance, instead of having numbers, if I've got one of the terms is a letter, I'm still going to go 2 times x is 2x. Okay, 2 times x equals 2x. And then with the second part, I'm going to go 2 times 3. And 2 times 3 equals 6. And that's the answer, 2x plus 6. And these two terms are unlike, because one's got a pronumeral and one's a number, so we can't add them, we can't simplify, so the answer is just 2x plus 6. You might want to copy that down. Okay, so this is the start of the theory. So 2x and 2 times 3 equals 2x plus 6. Okay, when you're ready, come to the next slide. So instead of using those lines joining up, there's another way you could do it. So for instance, this number here goes into that box there, and x goes there, and the 3 goes there. And so you set up a little area, and so when the two boxes match or coincide, you multiply. So 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times 3 equals 6. And so then the boxes, that's your answer, 2x plus 6. And when we have negative signs, we can still do it, just got to be a little bit careful with the negative signs, as you know. So you might want to copy that down as a second way of doing it, but at the end of the day, you'll just pick one method that makes more sense to you. Okay, so moving on to the next slide when you're ready. So I want you to try this one for yourself, and you can use either of the methods, and I'll do both answers eventually. So pause, have a go, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so 5 times 2x plus 4 equals 5 times 2x plus 5 times 4, and eventually you can do that in your head. So the answer is just 10x plus 20, but using the second method, you put the 5 and the 2x and the 4, and then when they join up, you multiply. So those two multiply to give 10x, and then 5 times 4 equals 20. So the answer is the same. So both methods give you the same answer. So I think at some stage, pick a method that you think makes more sense to your head, and then stick with it. So in the first method, we're going 5 times 2x and 5 times 4, and you get 2 products, and then you simplify. Otherwise, it's like a little set of boxes. So copy them down, hopefully you got it right, and then move to the next slide when you're ready. So just remember, we talked about this in the last class. There was a lot of confusion. Hopefully there's less confusion now. So when you have a positive and a positive, you get a positive, and a negative times a negative equals a positive. So this time we're multiplying, we're not adding and subtracting and going up and down a thermometer, we're multiplying, so now we can use the rules. So when I say the sign is the same, you get a positive, but when the signs are different, you get a negative. So this is multiplying, we're not going up and down a thermometer, this is a rule. So two positives or two negatives multiply to a positive, and a plus and a minus multiply to a minus. Yep. Okay, so looking at an example with minus signs, I've got 2 times m equals 2m. Now what I do is, you don't have to do this way, but I'll do it this way. Always put a plus in between and then let the negative come back later. 2 times minus 5 is 2 times minus 5. Okay, so always putting a plus in between and let the negatives come back later. So 2 times m is 2m. The plus sign comes down, and now we look at a negative. So 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. And then when we have a plus and a minus headbutting each other, that becomes a minus. So the minus comes in now. Okay, so copy that down, and of course you can do it with the squares. So let's just do it with the squares as well, just so you can see what I'm doing. So the 2 goes out the front, m and minus 5. So 2 times m is 2m. 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. So the answer is 2m minus 10. So that might be easier for some of you. You don't have to worry about headbutting pluses and minuses. Copy it down and come to the next slide. So I want you to try this one for yourself. Pause, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so I'm going to do it both ways again. So 3 times 2x is the first sum. In my method, I always put a plus in between, and then it's 3 times minus 4y. So 3 times 2 is 6, put a plus in between. 3 times minus 4 is minus 12, so the answer is minus 12y. And then I've got a plus and minus headbutting each other, so the answer is 6x minus 12y. Doing it the second way, put the 3 in a box, and the 2x and minus 4y, and again 3 times 2 is 6x, 3 times minus 4 is minus 12y, so the answer is just 6x minus 12y. So I don't mind which way you do it, as long as you keep consistently doing it one way. Okay, so looking at the next one. So harder example with minus signs. Again, we've talked about this before. I'm just going to pause the tape for a sec because I've got someone at the door. And we're back on. I just had someone at the door. Okay, so minus 2 times 3a is the first question. Again, in my method this way, always put a plus in between and then let the negatives take care of themselves later. Put the second sum, so minus 2 times minus 4. So minus 2 times 3a is minus 6a. Put the plus sign in between. Minus 2 times minus 4 is plus 8, so it's plus 8b. And then 2 pluses headbutting each other is just a plus. Okay, if you're going to do the box method again, I'm not going to keep doing the box method every time, but I'll just show you how it works. 3a minus 4b. And so, and again, that's my b, Tia. Thank you very much, don't laugh. So this is minus 6a, and that's positive 8b. So the answer is minus 6a plus 8b. So let's have a look at the next page when you're ready. Okay, so try this one yourself. Pause when you're ready. Come back in. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it with the lines, but if you get the boxes, you should get the same answer. Okay, so now we're looking at minus 4 times minus 2a plus minus 4 times 3 equals, now we've got two negatives together, which makes a positive, so it'll be 8a, plus sign automatic, minus 4 times 3 is minus 12, and then we've got a plus and a minus headbutting each other, so it makes a minus sign. So hopefully you got that answer. And we're getting nearly to the end of this slide. So, and again, you can have longer questions. So just hang on a sec. And we're back on. I just had someone at the door again. And so we're looking at, just do this as one question, and then we do a second question. So 2 times x, 2 times 3, 2x plus 6. So that sum's done. Now again, in this method here, just automatically put a plus sign in and then do the sum second. So minus 4 times x is minus 4 times x. Automatically put a plus sign in, and then minus 4 times minus 1 is the second calculation. So that plus sign is there. Minus 4 times x is minus 4x. That plus sign is there. Minus 4 times minus 1 is plus 4. And then we've got a plus and a minus headbutting to make a minus. A plus and a plus headbutting makes a plus. So I've got 2x plus 6 minus 4x plus 4. And then group the like terms. So 2x minus 4x is minus 2x. Plus 6 plus 4 is plus 10. And that's all you can do because they are unlike terms. So that's a harder one, but you'll get plenty of practice hopefully on these ones. And let's look at the next tape. And that's it. So exercise 2C, page 63, have a go from each of the questions. You don't have to do them all. Okay, thanks for coming.